Good day.
Hi, sir.
Right, welcome to this week's Set Zero, and the theme for this week is the last question. Apart from the warm-up, which we're about to do, all the questions come from the last question on the GC paper, so generally are the hardest. So without further ado, 60 seconds for your first question and the warm-up. Off you go. Right, hopefully you managed to get that off in the 60 seconds. It shouldn't be too bad if you know what you're doing and remember how to complete the square. So to complete the square, the easiest way is just to halve this value. So we get 3 root 2, because half of 6 root 2 is 3 root 2, square that. Then the quickest way, without thinking, without having to do any thinking whatsoever, we just take away that squared. So we just do 3 root 2 all squared, and then we just put the -1 on the end, and it will be this will be equal to this, because this gets rid of the 3 root 2 that's been squared and comes out. By halving this, if you don't know how this expands, we get x squared plus 2ax plus a squared. You see, you always get 2 times that value number of x's if you square this out, and you always get that plus a squared on the end, even if the a is negative. So we just always take this number squared away to get rid of that, and then if we add that number on the end, then we always get the right number on the end. So to simplify this, 3 squared is 9, times by 2 is 18, Minus 18 minus 1 is minus 19. And there's our answer. Right, our next question is going to take us 2 minutes. Right, nobody in the room that's doing this live with me has finished yet, so I'm going to give you an extra 60 seconds to have a go at this. So let's have a look at this question. So you've got 3 consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. As soon as you've seen this, you should be thinking, well, if you don't know what any of them are, you should be taking them away from each other. So what we do is we do 8x plus 2 minus 2x minus 23. So if you take all the 2x plus 23 away, you'll get minus both of those. That will be your common difference between these and these. And that will be equal to your common difference between these two. So you do 20x minus 52 minus 8x minus another 2. So you do that one away from that one to get this side. And both sides are equal to the common difference. So we take that away, we get 6x and we get minus 21. And on this side, we get 12x minus 54. So therefore, 33 will equal 6x, so x will equal 5.5. And we can put that back in to find the common difference. So the common difference will equal 6 times 5.5 minus 21, which comes out to be 12. And you can check it in the other side, just to be certain, and do 12 times 5.5. So I've written something wrong here. I've written 12x minus 5x. I meant to write a 54 there. Sorry about that. That was a 54 just there. So 12x minus 54. You get the 33 by adding the 54 to 21. Get the 6x by taking the 6x away from the 12. So we could put it back into there and get that. I've got a question in class. No, because you're taking that away. Because you can take the whole of this. I got asked, is this a plus 23? If I actually did that, you'll see why it's a minus 23. Because you've got minus a plus gives you a minus. I didn't have the brackets in, no. Okay, question 3, which I think I gave 3 minutes before, but bearing in mind how long that took most people, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to see where we get to, and then maybe I'll add on an extra minute, so let's see how we do. Right, so the time is up on this one. So we've got, what we've got here is just draw a little pair of axes on here just to help us reference everything. So we've got A, B, and C lie in this equation, 3y equals 2x plus 12. You want to quickly just work out what it is, put naught in there, and you see that y crosses at 4. Let me just get a pen. And then you put naught in there, and you see what x crosses at 6. So you get a line going a bit like this. So I'm just going to try and draw a line through those points, just to get a rough diagram. And then we're going to have a over, so what did I have? I had y going through 4 and x going through 6, so a is going to be over here somewhere. So here we have A, we could have B and C that way around, or we can have them the other way around. And what you realise, this is an isosceles triangle because AB equals AC, so this forms a right angle. So therefore we know the gradient of this line is going to be perpendicular to this gradient here. So we work out the gradient of our original line by rearranging 3y, by dividing by 3 to get 2/3 x plus, we're going to get 4. And that gives us 2/3. So the gradient of this line will be minus 1 over this, which is minus 3 over 2. So if we use y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, where x1, y1 is a point on the line. Now A is on our line, so the coordinates of A are my x1 and y1. So get y minus 37 equals minus 3 over 2 x, what's that, minus 4. Multiply throughout by 2. Let's just get myself some more space. Multiply it by 2, get 2y minus 74 equals minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 4 is plus 12. Add the 3x to this side and add the 74x to this side, and we get 86 over here. Notice it said px plus qy equals r, where p, q, and r are integers. I probably should write it strictly to make it exactly the same as theirs like this, but there really is no difference between that answer and my answer. Right, next question. Okay, I think, let me have a quick look. I think it's going to be a 5 marker. So let's go for 5. This is going to be a 5-minute one. Let's see how you do on this one. where you get. I was just saying to my class, you only get 5 minutes in the exam. Well, you probably wouldn't, because actually, you get to, most of you who are attempting these questions would have nailed most of the exam in about an hour and a bit, and you'd have probably an hour to finish this one question. So, and may well get it out in a lot longer time. But let's go through it and see where you got up to, and see if you can follow what I did. So, sum of an arithmetic is given by this formula, n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 lots of the common difference. Or you could do is n over 2 times the number of terms divided by 2 times the first plus the last term. Because the last term is given by a times n minus 1d, and the first term is given by a. You add those together, you get 2a plus n minus 1 lots of d. So anyway, bearing that in mind, so we've got S48 will equal 48 over 2 times 2a plus 47d. 48 minus 1 is 47. And we've got 36. So S36 is equal to 36 over 2 times 2a plus 35 lots of d. And we've given that this is 4 times this. So this is going to be equal to 36 over 2 times by 4, times by 2a plus 35d. Simplify this side, and I get I can probably divide it throughout. I can cancel out the 2's, divide throughout by 48, and I'm just left with 2a plus 47 on this side, lots of d, and on this side I end up with just a factor of 3 here, times 2a plus 35 lots of d if I divide both sides by 48 over 2. So getting that all on the same side, I get 0 equals 4a plus 58d. So therefore a will equal, what's it going to be, 14.5 lots of d. I've done this question already, okay, just to make sure. So we haven't got a or d, but we do have some. This is where people probably stopped and thought, what do I do next? Well, what you do next is write down what you do know. You do know that you got the sum of the first 30 terms. So the sum of the first 30 terms is given by 30 over 2 times 2a plus, what's it going to be, 29 lots of d. And what you realise here, you've got 2a, which is equal to 29 lots of d. And I've just made a mistake. There's a minus here. There we go. 4a plus 58d. That should be minus 14.5d. The reason why I knew I made a mistake, because I didn't get the answer I wanted to get, which was 0. Because when you times this by 2, you get minus 29 lots of d. Let's just put in a bit more space. Here we go. So when we put this in, we get 15 for that bit. You're going to get minus 29 lots of d plus 29 lots of d, because we are going to put this in for a, and that gives us minus 20 lots of d, so the whole thing is just 0. So it's just a little trick at the end. If you just carried on going through, writing down what you do know, then all becomes clear. Right, the last question, which I thought was the hardest. So good luck with this one, because I know a lot of people in the class struggled with the last one. Teams call. Sorry, I've muted to the. Right, no one in the class has got this out yet. Has anybody in the chat on Teams or YouTube got this out yet? Or think they're going to get it out and give you another 60 seconds or so. Just write something in the chat. Right, it would appear that nobody's close. So let's go through the question. Okay, so what we got here? Let's do there's two lots of intersecting chords. We've got a pair of intersecting chords here, and then actually this one's a little bit tricky because it's hidden. You've got some others hidden. So you've got this pair of intersecting chords, you've got this pair of intersecting chords. If you extend these two lines, is what you've got to do. So let's just work with this one here, because we've got this x here. We've got to try and see if we can find the radius first before we can find x, because we can't find x without finding the radius. Now it's lucky because I had to play around with this for a bit. It did take me the full 5 minutes to do this question the first time, so it was a tricky question. So this intersecting chords, we've got 7 times 4 will equal 2 times, now if we call the radius r, we're going to have 2r going across there minus 2. So we can find the radius. So we've got, what's that, 28 equals, let's just leave it as 2r minus 2. Divide by 2 gives me 14 equals 2r minus 2. So add 2 gives you 16. Divide by 2 gives me r equals 8. So let's move on from there. So we've now got an external intersecting chord. So we've got x times the whole length of this equals 5 times the whole length of this. So we've got 5 times 7 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, for this one here. And then we got x times x plus 2r, which is 8, which is 16. And we've got a nice little quadratic here. So we can simplify that all, get it all on the same side. And you get x squared plus 16x minus 80 equals 0. And what multiplies to give me 80 and takes away to give me 16? Well, it's going to be x minus 4. And if you can't see this straight away, just shove it into your quadratic formula, or if you've got lucky enough to have a graphical calculator, shove it into that. So you get x minus 4 times x plus 20 equals 0. So x equals 4 or minus 20. So obviously, give myself a bit more space, x must equal 4. Well done last week on the extension questions from last week. We had 2 people manage to send them in, completed. I think, where is it? There's the questions that were set last week. And if you go into the OneNote, on the page just below that is the solutions. I've posted up some more questions in the OneNote. The link is in the YouTube, and I'll put the link also in the Teams chat in a few seconds. Thank you very much. That's the end of today.